Good afternoon, everyone. Give us just about 3 minutes here, and we're going to get started. We're going to get all of our candidates in place, and we'll be right back with you. Thank you.
Come on, then it's ready. But when you're done, turn it. Come on, then it's ready to go. When you're done, turn it off by pushing down. So on.
And in these. Okay, good evening, all of our Alto family. We are so happy to be back again. It's hard to believe it's already been 12 months and we're losing 3 board members and going to gain 3 new board members. We want to make this or get through this as quickly and as most informational that we can tonight. And so we are going to have 4 questions from our nominating committee for the board members. They're going to each have 3 minutes to respond to each question. And you're going to find on your table there's some blank pieces of paper and a pen. Questions from the members. If you have a question, write it down and bring it over to the table to my left to Scott Diggerson and Roxanne, and they're going to choose a few of the questions out of the whole room. If not, everybody in this room could have a question and we could be here till midnight. And so we want to be able to control that so we're not here for a long period of time. If you notice, our bar is not open. Our happy hour does not start until we get done. So we look forward to getting done. So because everybody here does enjoy our happy hours too. Right, Don Liskey? Okay, after tonight, you should receive in the next week in your mail the ballots for our voting for members, for new members of our board. Those ballots need to be turned back in to our administrative office by 9 o'clock on the 22nd, 9 a.m. that morning, which is the day of our annual meeting. And the new members or the results of that election will be given at the end of that annual meeting, as we do every year. If you have any questions about that, I will be around afterwards and you can come see me. With that being said, let's get this thing started, get it rolling here. And I'm going to give you a quick say hello to all the candidates starting on my far left. We have Gary Bills. Gary and his wife Vicki have been members here now for 9 years. Next to him is Steve Shula. He and his wife Andra has been here now for 4 years, been members here for 4 years. Jim Solomon, his wife Andra, they have been members here now for 22 years. To my right is the sweet Brittany Allen. Her husband Doug have been here also for 4 years. Jimmy Goetz, James Goetz, he and his wife Alyssa have been here 12 years. Ray Brown, which is also his first time to be on the as a candidate for the board, but he did spend the last year on our board. He was appointed to replace one of our board members that had to leave, and now he's now running to get back on that position. He and his wife, Janine, has been here 33 years. And then David Helmke on the end, he and his wife, Rose, are members of 14 years. Now then, first question, we're going to have Gary Bill start off with his answers. And again, we have a 3-minute limit on your response or less, so we can keep this thing moving. And the first question is what is your motivation for wanting to serve on the Alto Lakes Golf and Country Club Board of Directors?
Okay, my motivation for wanting to serve on the board, I ran last year, and excuse me for walking in front of y'all, but that's just by nature. I have to do this. I've been up here about 9 years. It don't seem like that long, but it's been a great 9 years. I live up here full time. For the last 3 years, we've been here full time. So I've got to see the difference in things between the different seasons that we have. I love the summertime when everybody's up here. I also love the wintertime when nobody's up here. So, you know, it's a great place to live. And my thing was, you could either sit back and complain about things you don't like, or you could get involved and do something about it. I've done a whole lot of volunteer work with the club. I'm the one that sits at the back during karaoke, runs a little soundboard, works the concerts and things like that. So my motivation was I really just love the club. I want to be involved in what goes on and represent the members is the way it's supposed to be. You elect a board, but those board members are the ones who represent your wants and wishes for the direction the club needs to go. So keep it short and sweet. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Steve Shula.
Well, I turned it off. That was the rules. Caleb gave me the rules. Just like Gary, last year I ran. I was not able to attend. I had a previous engagement, small trip to Mexico with my family. So I apologize last year. Decided to run again this year. And, you know, why? To me, I bring a lot of knowledge and experience to being a board member at a club. If you've read my bio, I've been on the board for 9 years, 3 different times, been president twice, run MGA at different clubs. I'm currently the MGA president here at Alto Lakes. And you know, Gary hit it on the head is, you know, if you got a problem or an issue, you know, I just don't like to sit back and complain. I want to bring a solution to that problem. So before I voice my opinion, I will definitely come up with a plan and a couple different solutions and bring them to the appropriate person.
Mr. Solomon.
Yeah, we've been members of the club now, like Scott says, for 22 years, and we're really lucky. We have a great club here. You know, we have this location, the facilities we have, the amenities we have, the value we have with our dues, and I've got the experience to do, I think, be very helpful in the club. I've been involved in a lot of boards, some paying, most not. I've done enough, I think, in my life that I can see when I fall in love with a place like Ruidoso, New Mexico, Alto, New Mexico, and the membership of this club, that there's things that that can be improved upon. Our club, I think, is doing very well. I think we're on an upward trajectory. I think I said that. But there's always things you can improve on. We always have to enhance our communications. We have to enhance our transparency. We have to watch our money. And this club is just a great example. You notice that we got so many people coming into the club now because they've discovered Alto Lakes Country Club. And so I just want to be a part of it, and I'll, if you honor me, put me on the board, I'll do my very best to take care of business as we need to.
Miss Allen?
So what is, okay, so what is my motivation to run for the board? I have always been involved with the community that I've lived in, whether it was in La Mesa, where I was raised, Lubbock, where I went to school, or Fort Worth, where Doug and I lived. And now Alto is my home, and I'm so happy to call it home. So I want to be involved. I want to help speak for the members and make this the best place that it can possibly be. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Mr. Goetz?
I have no motivation to be on this board, but I've been asked to be on the board because of my experience, and I have a lot of experience from Odessa Country Club and from other boards that I've been on. I'm also a TGA and a USGA golf official, and I think this is one of the most wonderful places that you can be. Alto, Outlaw, and now Cocopelli. How can you get any better than that? Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Mr. Rose? Or Mr. Brown, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. I ran last year, was selected among this panel of 6, and that was the time that Jimmy Mace chose to take on other Alto responsibilities, and consequently I had the opportunity, the blessing, if you will, to fill in. If I'm elected and take this up again, I will have 15 consecutive months of membership on the board here. I ran a year ago, really with just a platform of what I've heard already. This is a place we love, a place that's special, a place I don't know where you find anywhere else that I've ever been that's like this. And we started coming here, hanging out here, really 35 years ago, and to Ruidoso before that. But we've owned property and lived here on a part-time basis. The early part of our involvement here involved our kids, then our grandkids, and now our great-grandchildren, whom we have 3 of. And so there were many years that I really was not active, and I knew a core of people, but not a lot of people. And it reached a point, and I'm kind of like you just heard, I kind of got pulled into this, encouraged, but was also excited about it. And my whole issue at that point was, I think it's time to give something back. And I hope I've done that, but I think the thing that gives me tremendous advantage is that this is a complex club. It's a big club. There's a lot of members. The growing last 10 or 15 years is just phenomenal. And I have the learning curve somewhat behind me. I don't think you ever get it all, but I certainly have had the opportunity to get up to speed, meet some wonderful people, all of whom I think have the same philosophy that we are helping fix a great thing to be even better. It's not that flawed. All places have flaws, but we are simply here to make it better and to take care of the interest of the membership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. David?
Thank you. I'm Dave Helmke. I've been here 14 years. I really look back on some of the early years when I was here quite fondly. I may be the rebel with a cause candidate. I started going to some of the meetings. I had heard after I was playing golf with some friends or visiting or playing pickleball, some things that weren't all that complimentary about our management and our board. So I thought, well, gee, I'll start going to some of the meetings and seeing if you know, this is just some minor things that, you know, not warranted the criticisms. I came away feeling even more critical than I had heard. I think the board needs some help. I was Chief Financial Officer for public schools in Texas. I've been to lots of school board meetings. I've sat through many controversial issues. Nothing much more important than a person's children or their tax dollars. We weathered it. We did well. I think the focus has changed in the last few years. I think we've become more of a corporation than a club. And I think one of the first questions that any board member should ask when something comes before the board is, how does this benefit the membership? That needs to be the first question addressed. So I'd like to see a little more member-oriented club. I don't particularly think that that's the direction we've gone in the last few years. Thank you.
All right. Okay, your next question, and Dave, you're kind of on a roll here. I'm going to let you, I'm going to start the questions on your end. And the question is simple, is how would you describe Alto Lakes Golf and Country Club to a friend or to a prospective member of coming to our club?
I got excited. Can you hear me here?
No, it needs to turn on.
Showed me this a while ago. We got it now, I think. I got excited just a little while ago because I met these new members, and this is a terrific place to be. I got up this morning, I looked out, I saw that blue New Mexico sky. I thought about there's not much wind. I thought, man, this is a day for golf. It could be a day for pickleball. There are so many wonderful things about Alto. When I came here, I was received so warmly by people I didn't know. And so I think we've got a great membership. And I should have not been so naive. There were so many people here that had run businesses or run corporations who I was really impressed with the way that they presented themselves. I think, as I may have mentioned just a little while ago, I think our government needs a tune-up. I don't think we've been sharing information. We've actually implemented some stuff in writing that keep information from our members. I think I'm used to a more public environment where we shared all
Now, David,
the information.
would you share that with prospective members? I mean, this is the question is
Okay.
how would
No,
you
I'm sharing
is
that
this
with
how you would describe the club? That's
No,
I just
no,
want
no.
to stay on point if that's
Thank
okay.
you. Appreciate that. It's a wonderful place. Come help us. Come be part of it. Be involved. You can be involved if you can get the information. So, thank you.
All right, Ray.
There we go. I think, first of all, I have to say that this is a place that if anybody's bored, it's your fault. There's anything in the world that's imaginable that's available to us. You know, what we have right here on site is a piece of God's beauty that it's it's a little piece of heaven, as I've heard people say, and I agree with that. It's a friendly place. Everybody talks about West Texas friendliness. It's maybe trumped here, I'm not sure. We just can look around. Not only can we play golf, you can get a tee time nowadays. We have 3 courses. We have tennis courts, pickleball, all kinds of indoor things, the opportunity to learn, to take courses. I don't know where there's any more in one place than there is here. But the main part of it, again, is the fellowship, the kindred. There's a family attitude here that even includes some of us board members, I think. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray. Jimmy?
Alto sells itself. This is the most wonderful place there is. You got 3 golf courses, you got pickleball, you got tennis, you got now a wonderful swimming pool, you got a workout facility. How do you not sell yourself? The whole thing is my wife says it best. This is summer camp for adults. And man, can we not sell that? We're pretty bad.
Thank you, Jimmy. Brittany?
So I think you'll probably hear just kind of a repeat of everything, because Alto is a wonderful place. If you're an outdoor enthusiast like I am, there's hiking trails very close by. There's pickleball, tennis, golf. Now our outdoor swimming pool. If you like indoor activities, there's games, there's card games, there's board games, there's karaoke, there's line dancing. There's just so much going on. And like they said, if you hear someone say, man, I'm bored, then there's something wrong, because there's so much to do. I have never lived in a place that when I went on vacation, I wasn't ready to come home. When we lived in Fort Worth, we'd go on vacation. It was time to come home. I was like, ugh, I really don't want to. The opposite is here. When we're on vacation, after a week, I'm like, I am so ready to get home. And if we had a grocery store and a pharmacy, I would never leave, to be honest. But it's a wonderful place. And like I said, it's a community. It's home. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. All right, Jim?
Yeah, we're so blessed to be up here. We say this all the time, and I'll say the same thing to everybody here. I'll save the best for last. We've got great weather. I hear my friends over in Texas just coming apart when they think about how we complain when it gets above 85 degrees in the summer. We have all the amenities that's been talked about. It's all here. And one thing that we do have that a lot of clubs don't have, we've got a tremendous value in our dues. Our dues are relatively low for all the great values we get. And I credit a lot of our staff and the way the previous boards and the way this was set up for that. We have the weather, which is good. We have these beautiful mountains. And when I get raving on about Alto, it takes me a while to shut off. But the main thing that I talk about, and our biggest asset, and they've brought this up before, is our membership. When you come into this club, and yet I've been in many country clubs, they're not like Alto. You come in here, you immediately meet friends, people are accepting, you just feel at home right away, and this is home. I like to tell people, in other places, we finally got to the point where maybe we're old enough, we're not trying to impress anybody anymore, and we're just enjoying each other. And that's what Alto has to offer for all of us, and that's why it's so important we keep things going and getting better and better.
Thank you, Jim. Steve.
All right, Gary got the short end of the stick here because he's going last, but I'm going to invite everybody to turn around and look through the windows behind you, and there's your answer. When everybody started talking, I just sat there and stared at the mountains. That's what gets to me. Everybody brought up the golf courses, the acquisition that Tom and his team pulled together to present to us last year. Acquiring Cocopelli was a big a big asset to Alto Lakes. And, you know, finally the groups, when you do join here, there's so many different groups you can join: women's groups, men's groups, golf, activities, cards, everything else. So pretty much everybody said the same thing, but it's a great place to be.
Thank you, Steve. Gary?
It's Disneyland for adults. I mean, that's what it is. Like they've said, you don't have to sell it, it sells itself. I was fortunate enough that I used to teach my self-defense class right over here in the corner, and every time a new member would come in, Maggie would be on a tour with them, and they'd come back. And I love seeing the big smiles on their faces and their eyes this big around looking at everything. It's unbelievable what the value we have for what little we have to pay. Those of you from Horseshoe Bay, not so much, right? So we've got a lot of great things going on out here. I mean, what could you ask for that we kind of already don't have? We've got 3 golf courses, 3 pro shops, 3 restaurants. I mean, all you got to do, if somebody wants to look at this place, just come and just show them around. Just keep your mouth shut. I sat on my balcony at night and look at the stars. You don't get any clearer than up here. Yeah, the wind blows a little bit every once in a while, but I can deal with that too. So I love it. It's a great place. It's easy to sell.
Thank you. Great responses. Really good responses. I'm one personally that I never stop talking about. My number one thing that I love about this mountain is you folks. Our membership, to me, is just over the top. I mean, there are so many wonderful, wonderful people on this mountain, and that we are what makes this club, not the golf courses and tennis courts and all. I feel like we make this club is our memberships. So, next question, we're gonna start with my buddy Jimmy. We got to mix it up a little bit. We've only got 4 here. And that is, Jimmy, how do you envision Alto Lakes Golf and Country Club in the next 3, 5 to 10 years? How do you envision with new people coming in and so on and so forth?
Well, we've done a lot in the last just very short amount of time by buying Kokopelli, this wonderful facility right here, and all the concerts and all those kind of things. There's a couple of little minor things I think that we need to do. One of them is that's the worst driving range in the world, even though we tried. And it would be really nice if we could put in a facility that our pros could actually fit the golfers with golf clubs. And I think that's something that we can do. That's coming up. Yep. I think there's just not a lot that needs to be done. Now, we need to make sure our product is always good. The food needs to always be good. Everybody in here eats in here all the time. We know that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but the product is what we're selling, and that needs to stay good.
Ray, next.
I agree with what I just heard in terms of things are really pretty good now. I think we can look around. You know, some of the golfers in particular wanted to set up the computerized play every course in the world thing, and we're looking at a possibility, have talked about a possibility of finding a niche for that. But the next big thing is going to be getting office space, because growth also means that we have extra management people, and they're crowded already if you haven't paid an attention in there. So the old workout room area is going to largely be, or at least the talk is now, to become office space, and new things like the video golf for wintertime in particular would be great, just like the fitting and all you talked about. I think probably the biggest obstacle in 3 years If you may have heard Tom say this, you know, the program that we get our summer employees with is fading out. It's not going to be here probably 3, 4, 5 years from now. And we're looking already as a board at various options. We are looking at bringing in interns from programs like Texas Tech has what they call a RIM program, restaurant and hotel management. Tom is connected in those things. That's another thing we have is great leadership from that staff at the office. I applaud them loudly every day. They're overworked. Thank you. The big thing that this creates for us right now is that Ruidoso doesn't have a lot of places that you would live or that you would send your young person who's working here for the summer to live. And you know that we're looking at options. Despite the rumors, there is no plan to become hotel owners and rent to everybody that comes to town. We're looking at the options. We don't know yet what those are going to be. But that's a really high priority issue for us, because if we can't lodge them, we can't bring them. And if we don't bring them, we're not going to hire enough local people. So we would appreciate your feedback. We would appreciate any information you have, any thoughts that you have. And just know that we're totally open-minded to the options, and we're looking to solve that as soon as possible.
Thank you, Ray. That is a big concern of our club right now, and there'll be more discussion on that. Again, Dave, what's your expectations or what your thoughts are and visions for the next 3, 5, 10 years?
Okay. We've just added some major facilities to our club. Is this thing on? Okay, thank you. We've added Cocapelli, and I think it was probably the largest single cash expenditure the club has ever made. No, the pool fitness center was, excuse me. But Cocapelli certainly is a big part of our operation now. I'd like to see us take a year or two and kind of consolidate, see where we're at. I'd like to see organization chart. Let's see where we need to think about adding personnel, where we're adequate.
But David, your envision for the next 3, 5 to 10 years.
That's what I'm talking about. The next 2 or 3 years, I'd like to see us consolidate what we've got.
Okay. So
demonstrate,
you're
not
envisioning
talk, demonstrate.
A problem.
Are you running or me?
Okay. Okay.
So I'd like to see that process involved. We depleted our reserves on the pool, I believe. It's hard to get the financial information, but I believe that's true. I'd like to see us rebuild our reserves. I'd like to see us communicate about where our employee needs may be now and in the future, next few years. I can't predict what the government's going to do in the next 5, 6 years. I have a great deal of confidence in our club. I have a great deal of confidence in our membership. I think we will adapt and weather, and I think we'll prosper in the next few years. But I want to see us, use the word consolidate again. Let's enjoy what we've got. Thank you.
Gary?
Where do I see us in 5, 10 years? We've made tremendous progress over the last, the 9 years that I've been up here, and particularly the last 3 years. I mean, look around and see what we've got. More golf courses, we got a lot of other things. We've made some big strides, and now I think it's time to kind of slow down a little bit and start fine-tuning. I think somebody said that, fine-tune some of the things we've got. We've got a fantastic staff here. I teach a class to the employees every year, and one of the things I do is put out a questionnaire for them. I said, what do you like about Alto, about working here? You know what the number one answer is? Because there was no other answer. It was the members. We love serving the members. So we've got to take care of our employees. I know it's a big thing. We've talked about this, the housing problem. with our employees and things. We're a resort area. There's a lot of short-term rentals up here, so it's almost impossible to rent anything. So I think looking down the line in the future, that's something that we're going to have to look at. And it's going to have to be well thought out, planned ahead, and try to come up with a solution to the problem so that we have a place to put people and we can keep operating like we are now. If we can't have a place for employees, we got no employees and we got no service, and we're back to running basically winter hours through the summer. That's not going to work. So we've got to come up with a plan for that. I think that we've done a great job on our big stuff. And like I said, now I think it's time to just kind of shore up a few things, kind of toe the line for a while, and then move forward on to something else.
Thank you, Gary. Steve?
So usually all clubs, and I know this club has a long-range planning committee, and you know, that's probably the most important thing, to have a 7 to 10 year plan, 3 to 5 year plan, 1 to 3 year plan. One thing I'd like to see, and it hasn't been done since I've been here in 4 years, is maybe the long-range planning committee send out a questionnaire. Hey, what would you like to see to us as members? What's your plan? There's not a lot that needs to be done. We need to, last year we did the golf course, we did the tees, the front 9 of the tees here at Alto. The back 9 needs some work. You know, there's updates. You know, sometimes carpet wears out, paint wears out. Those are things that needs to be done. Major issues we don't have. Well, let me start over. The biggest issue we have is housing, and sounds like that's everybody's biggest issue. And we need to just figure that out. And you know, I know the board's working on it. Maybe other people have ideas, and you know, have an open forum to say, hey, what are your ideas? That kind of stuff. You know, I also talked about the plans. Each year you need to reassess those plans to see where we're at, and then accordingly you may have to adjust again because we're not on the right track, or hey, we can do more. And then finally, we need to make sure our home values are kept up to date, and that's, you know, making sure our property is fire-wise proof, and mowed, and trees are cut, and things like that. So,
Thank you, Steve. Jim?
You know, I think 3 to 5 years from now, this club, already we're very popular throughout the Southwest, and I think we do have to be careful and monitor our growth to a certain degree. We've got a set membership in terms of numbers predicated on property and so forth. So, but we do have to monitor our growth if we want to continue to keep the amenities and the value of the club, because we've still got to have tea times. We've got to have all those things available to us. Our housing needs to be addressed. I wouldn't make an opinion realistically at this point without being on the board and seeing the facts, seeing the options that we have available for our employees. Basically, I think the board decision should be predicated on what's best for the club, what's best for our employees, and most importantly, what are the desires of the membership. We have to continue to watch and enhance our communications, transparency, and we have to watch our money. That's something that I've always been particularly interested in, is controlling budgets and making sure that we're not spending and getting off onto a tangent that we don't need to be. You know, we've got such a great club here, and we've got a lot of type A personalities here. Well, that's good, because that means we got a great reserve of talent. But one thing that we also have is we have a rumor mill in our club that's second to none. And we have to kind of keep that under control, because we have to work together. And that would be one of the things that I would really want to work on, is working together, not polarizing our membership. and that can be done with communication, transparency, and so forth. All these other things, the housing, potentially another practice or in our golf and all that, that'll come as we go, as we move down the line. But right now, we need to shore up what we have. We need to take care of what we've got going and all the positive aspects of this club. And then we can always make it better. We just need to make some good, basic business decisions and get the input from our membership.
Okay, our last question.
I didn't go.
I'm sorry. Oh, you didn't go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brittany. Brittany Allen.
Hello. That's okay, because it gave me more time to think about what I was going to say. When I knew that, when I had been asked to run for the board, I started trying to school myself. I went to the office and got a copy of the covenants, bylaws, all those things. I rewatched last year's Meet the Candidate and read some past months' minutes of the meetings and everything. And what I found out, some things that were mentioned last year have been accomplished. We have the new workout facility. We have the pool. We have I'm not for sure if it's finished yet, but the pavilion between the pickleball courts and tennis courts. And so those were things that were mentioned last year that have come to play. And boy, that's exciting. And some other things are still in the planning stage. I know Alpoa is thinking, trying to come up with a little play area, whether it be little putt-putt course or horseshoes, whatever. So some things are still in the planning process, and I think that's exciting too. But yeah, I mean, I had one other idea. And, I know. Something that I would like to see come in, two things. Some of the golf cart paths are really, really bad. I would like to see, and I know some of the areas have been done, but I would like to see some of the golf carts paths refinished. And also for safety, I would like to see better markings on High Mesa for the golf cart crossings. Yeah. I know we have the stripes and the sign, but those stripes fade very quickly with all the traffic that we have on High Mesa. And those signs, if you're not really paying attention, you can be upon them before you know it. So I would like to see something done just to make that a little bit safer for the golfers and for the drivers, because if you hit a golf cart, that could do some damage too. So thank you.
Well said. I can't believe I almost forgot that too. Okay, our last question. We're going to start with Ray. And there's been conversation already about our employees and things, and to a lot of us on the nominating committee, this was something that was important to us and we wanted to add it. And that is, what are some of your ideas to be able to continue to have quality, long-term, and sufficient employees here at Alto Lakes Golf and Country Club?
Well, I got to go back and repeat, I guess, the housing situation for our summer employees, because without a good alternative to that, it's really going to be, as Gary or somebody said, like wintertime in the summer, if we don't have those folks out there. Jim Solomon has done a fantastic job with the scholarship program. That's something that Janine and I have been committed to giving at least something to every year. And I think that kind of thing, again, it feeds the summer employees primarily, but that's a special thing that not just everybody or every club does. I think we need to continue to look at the benefit plans that we have here. What can we give these people that you don't get working downtown at the dry goods store, the grocery store, or wherever. I think recruitment is very important. You know, we just hired a very outstanding assistant to Tom in management. We need to keep a close finger on where those people are and who they are, and I think part of that goes back to the issue of staying up with the universities that have programs to develop hospitality personnel. That's a lot of what this is, but we just have to make sure that we stay up. And of course, we've been in a very unusual time. You know, that I heard an advertisement on the radio here several months ago that was something like $1,000 sign-on bonus and $20 an hour at somewhere like Subway. That's hard to keep up with, and so we've got to find ways of budgeting, putting monies into those things, getting creative, and I don't pretend to have the answer to that today. But the value of these people is just unbelievable, and every time a key person leaves, we feel it, and we need to remember that and be preventative in what we're doing. And I'm sure that's something that we'll be talking about extensively. The board will be this coming year.
David?
Thank you. I'm more than a one-trick pony, I hope. My current, and I'll get to the point, my current big gripe has been the institutionalizing of keeping information from the membership. The area that we're talking about is an area that we could use help from the membership. I think one of the first things we need to start with is organization chart. I'll make that two. You actually need one for the season and one for the off-season. So we need to know where our openings are predicted to be, where they may be now. I think we have some chiefs. I'm okay with adding some Indians. We may need some help. I think one of our most important class of employees are those guys out there riding those mowers. Our most valuable asset, I think the thing that attracts people, the reason I came here, is the golf courses. So we need to make sure those golf courses are maintained to the standards that we like. I have no idea what we're paying those people. I have no idea. But it's very important, very important. So I think we need to start with organization charts that are communicated so we can see, we can understand. This is where we need some employees. This is where we're okay. The future, okay, Sarah, is hard to see, but that's what I think. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back down here to Gary.
I know keeping and retaining employees is a big, big thing everywhere. I was in law enforcement, and we even had trouble retaining employees sometimes at the second biggest airport in the world. One of the things about the employees up here is what I just said a while ago, is the employees' number one satisfaction thing is serving the members here. They love working for the members. I know Tom is working on an organizational chart to streamline things, so it has already been in the process for a while. It takes a while to get things organized. We've operated kind of the same way for a number of years. Now we've grown at least by a third, because now we have Kokopelli. So keeping employees happy, money is not the only thing that makes them happy. We've already beat the housing thing to death, I think. But that's something that's going to have to be solved. Letting the employees know who works for who through the organizational chart that Tom is working on is a big plus in moving that direction. Training. we shouldn't throw them out on the floor without being trained. They do a pretty good job of training, but there's some things that could be updated and brought up a little bit more to get them to the point that they know exactly what it is that they're expected to do. So there's a lot of things that could be done as far as retaining employees, but the biggest thing is just making this a good place for them to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Steve?
So, as Gary said, this is a problem everywhere. You know, I'm back home in Texas. I'm a member of 2 other clubs and have the same problem. Ever since COVID hit, nobody wants to work. You know, and I think it was Ray that said, Subway, $1,000 bonus, $20 an hour. It's really hard to beat, and you know, it kind of goes back to the last question about long-range planning. That may be our next big issue is, hey, we need to start looking at increased pay, how that affects, you know, getting getting experienced employees, and then each year training them, sending them to education, trying to get them to move up. And you know, other than that, we have to go find the right people. Again, I think, you know, I think it was Ray also that said, you know, Tom said in 3 years we're going to lose the H-2B people. It may go away. So again, going back to the last question, this is long-range planning. We need to start working on that and figuring it out. And you know, to me, it's going to boil down to pay and benefits. That's what most people are looking for. And then, you know, finally they want a place to enjoy that where they're working. And then finally, you know, it's how we treat the employees. That makes a huge difference. We have to treat them correctly. We need to treat them like we want to be treated as members.
Thank you, Steve. Jim?
This has been, the employees in our club are such an asset to us, and I think sometimes some of us forget that. I think that when these kids come from, particularly over in Europe and all these places, they want to come here. They love these mountains, and they love serving this club for the most part. Andrew and I have had parties out of our home and had 60 or 70 of them come out. And they revert from the young man or young woman in the little uniform we see them in. Now they're a 23-year-old little girl or little 23-year-old girl, and they're college kids again. And we have to remember to keep the attitude that they're special to us. We can't have a club without employees. We have to watch our pay scales. We have to make sure we compensate them properly. We have to make sure we respect them properly. There's some issues that we've had in the past where that's maybe not been done as well as it should be. And to me, there shouldn't be any reason why we don't have them lined up to work at a place like this, because the membership generally is extremely respectful. And you get to be friends with these kids and the staff. We've got a great staff, but our problem now is probably taking care of the servers and the bussers. We gave a scholarship to a young man that came in, and he came in with his little name tag on, and it said dish killer. And I thought, what in the world is that? Well, he washes the dishes in the kitchen. And he's very proud of it. In fact, everybody else came in and said he's really good at it. And that's what he does. And he takes a lot of pride in what he does as a dishwasher. So if we can retain those kind of people, give them some kind of a future here, where we can keep them here for not just 1 season or 2 seasons, but at least through their college years, and then if we're lucky, we can bring them back for supervisory positions, staffing positions, and then the locals. There's just no reason why we shouldn't be able to compete for servers and all that kind of thing with the local economy. And so that needs to be looked into. Housing, of course, that's something we all know about, and that will be solved. But respect, I find, when you talk to somebody friendly, particularly if they're brand new, you know, because we're all the same here. There's nobody in here better than anybody else. And we got to make sure that we portray that. We've all had those kind of jobs in our lifetimes at one time or another. And actually, a server would have been a step up for a lot of things I did when I was young. So keep that in mind when you see these kids. I say kids because I'm old enough to call them kids, but they're young adults now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Miss Allen.
Well, I don't think I can say it any better than Jim just did. I think respect is a huge key. Unfortunately, I've witnessed several of our servers being treated like they were below us. They're not. They're not. It's like, so Jim, I've been in the same position. I've worked jobs that being a server would have been, I mean, that would have been high on the hog for me. So, respect. Treat them nice. Give them the courtesy and, again, respect that they deserve, and I think they will be wanting to come back. Some of these other issues with them, I'll be honest, I need more information. I need time to process, so I'm not going to talk around thinking I know it, because I don't. But just be respectful and kind. That goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay, Jimmy.
Last but not least, well, I think everybody here has said everything that we've all talked about. Number one thing, and I agree with you totally, is you have to respect the people that are working here. And I've seen people not do that. One thing that I think we've done well over the years is we've raised that tip deal. I remember when there was no tips here and you had to do it yourself. Well, those of us who did tip well, we got good service. Now everybody's tipping the same unless you're going above. These people just need respect, whether it's out on the golf course, whether it's maintenance. Bobby, that's the hardest working man in this whole world. Tom and his people, the people in the front office, everybody just deserves respect. The rest of it, we'll figure it out. I mean, it's going to cost money. There's only 7,000 people in Rio Dosa, and that's where our biggest pick is. Then you go to all the other little towns. So it's respect, and we need to understand that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that wraps it up for tonight. Did we have anything come across? Any questions that we'd like to give you a couple of minutes? Yeah, we as I said at the beginning, if you had a question in your own mind that we didn't talk about today, if it's something you'd like, if you'll bring it over to the table to the left of me, Scott Dickerson, and they'll look at those and make sure it's not something we've already talked about, and we'll ask them another question. If not, do I see one coming here? Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes in, and we'll go from there. Bob, can you write it down? Okay, I mean, I've got time for you to write it down and then bring it over to Scott Dickerson. Instead of trying to get around and passing a mic around, Bob's the reason we're doing that. But I'd like to say, for myself, I want to thank all 7 of you. In the 4 years we've been here, I want to tell you this is as strong a candidate panel as we've ever had. I think that any 3 of these 7 would be an asset on our board of directors, and I mean that truthfully in my own heart. Most of y'all are very good friends of mine, and I'm sure you are with people in our membership. But this, to me, is an important part of our year annually as members of our club, that we choose strictly based on who we really believe will be a benefit and an asset being on their board and helping the members in our club in the future. Okay, we have one. Okay, we're gonna. I feel, and y'all can hammer me after this is over because I've kind of taken the lead, and we've got one question I think is a very good question. They're all good questions, don't misunderstand, but they are questions that I feel and our candidates will be hanging around once this is over. And just as important to y'all listen to them tonight is come up and introduce yourself and meet them. And then you can ask, because I can't go through all of these questions. Like I said, we'll be here all night. But we're going to start down here with Gary and ask him, and we'll go through this, and then we'll be done. As an elected member of our board of directors, do you feel the members elect you to represent their interest, or do you feel the members elect you to make the best decision for the club? Very good question, by the way.
I like that question. I'm not sure how to answer it, but I like it. My background in law enforcement taught me one thing. If nothing else, it taught me one thing: to look at all sides of an issue before making a decision. So I would have to say I would look at the interest of what the members want and what the club needs, if that makes sense. Try to put the two together. I would like to have a go-kart track. What can I say? I like go-karts. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I would like to see it. But there again, I have to look at both sides, or all sides of an issue. I want to see all the facts and figures. I want to see what it's going to cost, what it's going to bring back to us, everything, for whatever it is. So if I answered that question okay, if not, I'll try to do better next time.
Okay, we're going to go side to side. Dave, you ready?
Wow. I lean to the members. I had a brief anecdote. I was in the office and they were discussing the charging you the $50 if you lose your ID card. And I said I didn't think that was right. I said, I think the office personnel is here to make the members happy. I don't think the members are here to make the office people happy. So I think we've become too corporate oriented. If that means the club, anonymous, the club, I lean towards being more receptive to the wishes of the membership. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
So this is actually a great question, and it's very hard to answer because who determines what's best for the club? The membership does. Financially, it could be a different story. But, you have to weigh all the options. First of all, there's going to be two sides. I get 2 members, and they're going to be on both sides of the issue. Then you have to go to, what is best for the club. The board's going to say, well, that table's going to say this is best for the club. This side's going to say it's best for the club. So I think you have to weigh both sides of the option. But ultimately, y'all, the members, vote us on. And so we need to listen to our members. That's what, to me, is most important. And then you look at what is right for the club.
Thank you, Steve. Ray?
Sorry about that. Those two things blend together in a very difficult to understand way at times. Obviously, each of you are a shareholder in this thing. You're an owner. It came with the land that you bought, which is a very unusual phenomenon for most of the clubs that we know. So we certainly want our club members, each of us, to have a say-so, to express our opinion, and to do so in a way that gives us much more to think about as board members. And I'm sorry, I'm still on the board today, and so I find myself thinking that way. At the same time, sometimes we have additional information in terms of things like the summer group disappearing in 3 years. That's not a rumor. That's what Tom has been fed through the channels. We don't know it'll be 3 years, but somewhere. So I think it's important that we have good information to help discuss with you guys. And as a board, we're getting more and more people to come in and express opinions and share that, and that gives us the opportunity to bat different opinions around. Those are welcome as long as they are, constructive criticism and positive remedy, and that betters all of us. We just have a little bit of insight when we're on the board to some things that you don't as a member, that doesn't go to meetings and doesn't attend things, and you can't attend enough to know everything that runs through us. But it's a blend. You can't not provide information and help from the board, but we have to be listening, and you guys are what count in the end. It's what you guys want.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Let's go, Mr. Solomon.
Yeah, I thought about this. I really don't know that you can separate. The club is our club. The members are our membership, which is part of the club. I'm not sure you can really separate the two and come out at the very end successfully. Obviously, the members have a lot to say about what happens in this club, and that's the way it should be. But there is an overall game plan for the club so that we can stay together, so that we can pay our bills, so we can do the things that we need to do to maintain this great club. And then, of course, we just talked about it. An integral part of that is still the employees. We can't make decisions predicated on only membership and only club values and leave the employees out, because without the employees, we don't have a club. So we really have to find a way to blend all those things together. When we make our business decisions, we got to be thinking about how's this going to affect the members. There's so many different interests in our clubs. We've got the golf, we've got the physical fitness, we've got all these different things, and each one of those folks have some unique members that are really only interested in their thing. So we really have to think in terms of one entity and make it work. And we can make it work. I think we have the ability to bring ourselves together and make people understand that when we're doing one thing over another thing, it's really in the best interest for the most most of the membership. And so I think you have to keep it all together. I don't think it's the membership that solely runs everything. We've got people that are watching the money. We've got people that are watching all the different litigation and the statutes in the state of New Mexico. So when we have Tom and his crew giving us advice as to how to do these things to keep us legal, we've got the membership that want all these things, and they're very valid wants. We have to blend all that together, and then we always have to consider the fact that if we want a club, we have to keep good employees. And so I think it all works together, and it's doable. It's not one or the other. I think you do all three of them and make them work.
Thank you, Jim. Jimmy?
Alto is like a small city because everybody in here is also property owners. So we're a democracy. You are going to elect somebody who's going to have your best interest at heart and the best interest of the club at heart.
Thank you. Okay, Brittany?
Oh, it's on. I just asked Jimmy, can I just say ditto? But I agree. I think it goes together. I think as a board member, you need to listen to the members, but more importantly, you need to hear the members. And there's a difference. You can listen and I can hear the noise, but if I hear exactly what you're saying and your concerns. And I think it's important for the membership to let the board aware of any concerns you might have. And then as the board, I think it's important to collect as much information from the members and decipher it and make the best decisions the board can to make this club continue to be as good as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay. That's going to wrap it up tonight. We've got our staff that we've been discussing tonight waiting on us to open the gates for you guys. On behalf of us, the members, I know you want to look at each and every one of each other and say thank you for participating and being in this venue tonight. This is very important, as I spoke earlier. It's a very important part of our year. We add 3 new members each year to our board, or maybe only 2 new members. But it means a lot to the club, and it should mean a lot to each one of us that all of us are here and we're participating and we're showing our interest and our care to get to know who's going to be elected on our board. Also, we don't seem to have as many in here as we've had in years past. Technology is catching up, and so those of you that are looking from home, we are live streamed on our YouTube channel. If y'all didn't see that in the e-blast, there's probably at least this many, or let's hopefully 4 times this many that are watching at home, and we want to thank y'all at home for taking the time to do this. With that said, everybody have a great weekend. Your ballots will be in the mail next week. Be looking for those. Put a lot of thought to your decision. And our man Tom Blumendahl would like to say something. Thank you.
If you want to review what happened here today, it'll be on the website, recorded for your review. So I know a lot of this stuff comes and goes, and you have questions in your mind, and you know if you got the answers or not, but you also have the option to do that as well. And thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Go get them, Hans.